Hi and welcome, and thank you so much for tuning in to my Choosing Love channel. My name is Joanna Shandro and I live in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and by profession I'm a psychologist. I've enjoyed a busy private practice for the last 30 or so years and actually still do work part-time. As a little girl I was sent to Sunday school even though my family wasn't particularly religious. And so I toddled off every Sunday morning, and for maybe 6 years or something like that, and some seeds definitely got planted because as an adult, in addition to working and raising a family, I was always interested in pursuing and exploring various different spiritual paths, various different traditional religions, and that led into looking at some of the non-dual teachings. I've sat with, been to retreats with Adyashanti and Gangaji and Tole and people like that, and been to India, that kind of thing. So I've really done a lot of searching and so on. More recently, I've been called back to my Christian roots. And one of the things that got very clear to me was it's about relationship. It's about relationship with this infinite intelligence, more so than, religious dogma and that kind of thing. The other thing that got really clear to me was that all of the teachings, everything I studied and heard and read about, the common theme is about love. They're all saying if we can just get ourselves aligned with love, if we can surrender to love, if we can join with love, then our thinking, our emotions, our physical bodies, our lives are going to be much more fluid, much more comfortable and enjoyable. So that seems to be the common thread of truth in everything I've looked at. So that led me to develop this series called Choosing Love. And I'm imagining that because you're actually watching this today, that this is a value that you hold for yourself. And so the problem is, though, it's one thing to have an intention to choose love, but what stops us from doing that? Because if we're not choosing love, there's got to be something stopping us. And what I've come to understand is the thing that stops us is that we're somehow caught in the fear-based matrix. And so we get either it's got maybe a shackle on us, our ankle, or maybe we're in a full body cast, I don't know. But as long as we are engaged and we agree with, we're identified with that fear-based matrix, I'm not good enough, or I'm depressed, or there's something wrong with my body, that kind of thing, that's all driven by fear. Then in those moments, in those areas, we are not at choice. We can't actually choose love. So I'm very inspired and guided to help people get unstuck and to get freed up. I really want people to be liberated, to get freed up from this stuck matrix, this fear-based matrix, so that you can return to at least neutral and have the choice of choosing love or not, as it were. Okay? So what I've done is put together a series of 10 classes that I'm teaching, and a good friend of mine very kindly volunteered to videotape the teaching section of it. And that's what the next 10 videos are going to be about. But I wanted to give you a bit of an overview first. So this is just the introduction. So in the evenings, the format is the same for every evening. I do a teaching for about 20 minutes or so. And then at the end of it, and my teaching includes starting with scripture, kind of exploring, drilling into that a little bit, getting a fuller understanding of the wisdom that's coming from the scripture. And then I add in some science. Some perhaps quantum physics or something from the neurological standpoint, and help us understand. And so we add that knowledge to it that dovetails in with the wisdom. And then from my background as a psychologist, I bring in some practical how-to tips on how we can actually do this. Because, for example, in the Word it might say, hold every thought captive. Well, how are you going to do that? Especially if you're being held captive by the thought. If you're caught in this fear-based matrix, how the heck are you going to hold that thought captive when it's got you? Well, I've got a technique, a tip on how to separate from that and become the witness of it, so you can actually do that and hold it captive and see if it does fall in alignment with love or the Christ mind or not, and then you can choose to keep it. So that's the three components of the teaching segment. So there's scripture, science, and some psychology all blended in together. Then what we do as a group is we take the teaching tip and apply it to our own stuckness. So that's the middle part of the evening. And the last part of the evening is sitting in silence. And this is where people get a chance to actually set aside thoughts, set aside emotions, set aside body sensations, and really just push pause on the mind, drop into their deeper aspects, deeper layers of their hearts, and be open and receptive for transformation, for healing, for change to occur. Because that's where it happens. The first part is just loosening things up, jiggling the mind a little bit, adding in some wisdom, adding in some knowledge, shaking it up a little bit. But really, it's the actual healing comes in the last section, in the stillness, and that is between you and your understanding of the God of your understanding. Because I'm not the healer. The God of your understanding is the healer. I'm just helping you get in the most receptive place possible for that power and that which created us to recreate and reconfigure this stuckness that we're dealing with. So for you to get the most out of watching this series, if you're not able to attend, you don't live here or whatever, the ideal thing for you to do is, before you even play the first one, is to decide to pick some area of stuckness in your life. And it might be a relationship. Maybe you and Aunt Millie are at odds and there's a family reunion coming up. It could be your relationship with money. Maybe you're chronically broke and you just can't seem to attract any money. Maybe it has to do with your health. I don't know where your stuck places are. But those are the places that you're trapped in the fear matrix and that you're not able to choose love and have them cleared out. Okay? So I'd invite you to pick some area of stuckness and jot down, okay, today I want to work on my relationship with Aunt Millie. I'll just go with that one. And then write down any emotions that you have. Maybe you're angry, maybe you're hurt, maybe you're sad. Jot down the emotions that go with that stuckness. Jot down any body sensations. If you've got knots in your stomach, do you get anxious when you think about her? Do you get angry? Do you get tightness in the jaw, rather? Any thoughts, well, she's too controlling and she shouldn't have done that and all that kind of thing. Jot them down and then give it a rating from 0 to 10. 10 being, ooh, I could almost cry or I could just yell, to 0 being I'm calm and peace, which would mean it's not really a stuck place. So give it a rating. Is it a 6? Is it an 8? And just jot that number down. So it's like what you've done is you've pulled it out of your unconscious mind, you have laid it open, and then listen to the teaching, then push play, and listen to the video, and let some of the wisdom from the Word come and touch into that file, let some of the knowledge from science come in, listen to the practical application of how you can actually integrate this into your life, and pay attention to the teaching tip. Now on the first one, I think we cut the video off before the teaching tip, so I'll tell you what it is right now. What the class did is they wrote out 5 even though statements, and I explained what they are in the first video. They wrote 5 of them out about their particular stuckness, and then they shared them out loud they partnered up with someone and read them out loud and said them out loud. Okay? So that's what the homework was. So, and in the next videos, from now on, I'll make sure that I include that part in the video. So, actually, after you've watched the video, then go ahead, just in the comfort of your own home, go ahead and do the homework. Actually apply it to this stuckness that you named at the beginning. And then once you've done that, then go ahead and sit in silence. Just set your thoughts away, push pause in your mind, let your emotions go over here someplace. Take any body sensation, you've got a pain in your knee. That's not who you are. It's just something that's happening. Do your best to just set all that stuff aside and open yourself up. Be ready, be willing, be available for transformation to occur. And, you know, pop on some nice classical music or something, just some kind of instrumental, and sit in stillness for 10, 15 minutes and allow the God of your understanding, the source of creation, to actually have its way with you. Allow it to to restore your mind, to rewire your neurology, to unglue some of these sticky places that you've loosened up already. And just really relax, have a little smile on your face, and let it be so. And that's the best, you can make the best use of these next 10 weeks by doing that. So thank you very much again for tuning in. I hope you enjoy this series. It would be my desire that you will become freer after watching these, that you will experience more peace and more joy in your life. You'll have a much better understanding of where you're stuck and how you can shift, how you can get out of that stuck place and shift gears and choose the love and live the life that you're wanting to do, that you'll acquire some tools to do that. So may the God of your understanding bless you and keep you, and yeah, amen and amen. Thank you.